They found him buried in the stone, sealed in a chamber the size of a cathedral. The aliens had no name for him, only glyphs carved around the sarcophagus in a language no one alive could read. It looked ceremonial, reverent. A monument to something too dangerous to be left wandering. Naturally, they poked it. At first, nothing happened. Just dust, sand, and an awkward silence where everyone shuffled their limbs and pretended this was a historic moment rather than glorified grave robbing. Then one of the panels lit up, casting the whole chamber in blue fire. The aliens cheered. The humans did not. Lieutenant Adrian Rourke, Earth's cultural liaison, stood politely at the back, hands behind his back, smiling as though he'd been dragged to a particularly boring opera. His posture said he was harmless. His eyes said he was already calculating exit vectors, weak points, and how many seconds until everything in the room regretted existing. The aliens were giddy. A guardian construct, trilled Professor Yiluk of the Korthari, scales shimmering with excitement. A relic of the old powers. Adrian tilted his head slightly. His voice was calm, conversational, even apologetic. Guardian, HM? That word's doing a lot of heavy lifting. The sarcophagus hissed. Metal ground against metal. Something inside was moving. The aliens clustered around, scanning, recording, chirping at one another in delight. Adrian alone stayed where he was, his smile thinning but never vanishing. The lid cracked, and the thing inside sat up. It wasn't machine, not entirely. Not flesh, not anymore. Something in between, something ancient, something that radiated the simple certainty of violence restrained by ritual. 6 eyes glowed faint amber. Its voice rumbled like tectonic plates grinding together. Who disturbs the charge? Every alien in the chamber froze. Adrian alone stepped forward, his smile faint and courteous. He gave a short, respectful bow, the kind of bow that could mean greetings, or I'll behead you in a minute. His voice was warm, almost friendly. Good afternoon. I suppose that'd be us. The Guardian's eyes locked on him. Humans. A ripple of confusion tore through the gathered aliens. Humans? He knows of them. Adrian chuckled softly. Oh, we get around. The Guardian rose to its full height, towering over all present. Its gaze swept across the alien delegation and dismissed them instantly. It fixed on Adrian and did not waver. My ward species failed, it said, voice low, dangerous. They fell. They forgot. And you woke me. The aliens bristled at being ignored. Guardian Construct, Yiluk began, puffing his chest. We represent the Galactic Accord. We command. The Guardian didn't even look at him. Its 6 burning eyes remained on Adrian. Do you claim them? It asked. Adrian's smile didn't falter, but the corners sharpened. His voice stayed light, almost conversational. We don't claim anyone, but I suspect you're not asking about legal paperwork. Answer. Do you claim them? For a heartbeat, silence. Then Adrian adjusted his cuffs, exhaled slowly, and nodded. Yes. The chamber temperature dropped. The Guardian's eyes flared. Then you inherit their doom. The walls shook as the sarcophagus split open completely. Ancient machinery stirred awake, vast mechanisms rumbling like an angry god. Above ground, the city trembled. Lights flickered across continents. Orbiting satellites began screaming with interference. The aliens panicked, shouting, scrambling. This was a mistake. Shut it down. Deactivate it. Adrian remained perfectly still. His smile was gone now. In its place was something quieter, colder, infinitely more dangerous. He stepped closer to the Guardian, close enough that every alien hissed in horror. His voice dropped to a polite whisper. "You should know something about humans." The Guardian tilted its head. Adrian's eyes gleamed. "We don't like being threatened. We prefer doing the threatening ourselves. It's a cultural quirk." The Guardian studied him for a long moment. Then, impossibly, it laughed. A sound like avalanches collapsing mountains. At last, it rumbled. "Predators again." News spread across the stars like wildfire. The Guardian, an ancient war warden, a planet breaker, a keeper of forgotten empires, had been woken. And it had acknowledged humanity. Aliens panicked. Armies mobilized. Fleets shifted nervously. Every species had stories of the Guardians. They were the ones left behind when their makers vanished, designed to enforce, to punish, to annihilate. And now one had a new, warred species. But the strangest thing wasn't the Guardian itself. It was the humans. Because instead of panicking, they adapted. While alien diplomats wailed and generals issued frantic orders, humanity calmly began studying the Guardian. Adrian conversed with it daily, often over tea. Yes, tea. He would sit cross-legged before the titanic war machine, pour steaming liquid into a chipped mug, and sip. The Guardian would loom above him, 6 eyes glowing. And they would talk. "Your kind always hunted," the Guardian observed one afternoon. Adrian smiled faintly. "So do cats. But we figured out something cats didn't." "What is that?" He sipped. "It's much more efficient to herd apex predators than prey." The Guardian's laughter cracked stone. The aliens watched in horror. Humanity wasn't just communicating with the Guardian, they were befriending it. Worse, the Guardian seemed amused, pleased, hungry in a way that wasn't physical. Fear spread. Whispers began. What if the humans have a Guardian? What if the humans are the Guardians now? The conflict ignited when the Council tried to seize the Guardian. A fleet arrived, bristling with weapons, surrounding the desert city where it slumbered. Demands were broadcast. Humanity was to step aside, the Guardian was to be disassembled, and Lieutenant Rourke was to surrender. Adrian answered the hail himself. His voice was calm, courteous. "Disassemble? Oh my! You can certainly try." The Admiral sneered. "You will comply, human." Adrian smiled. "We don't do that word very well." The fleet opened fire. The Guardian woke fully. What followed was not a battle. It was instruction. The Guardian demonstrated, patiently, methodically, how to unmake a fleet without effort. Its weapons were older than the Council itself, precise in ways modern technology couldn't dream of. Ships detonated like fireworks. Cruisers split apart as though peeled by invisible fingers. Through it all, Adrian narrated calmly, his voice carrying across the comms. "Observe. You'll note he doesn't waste shots. Each target neutralized with surgical precision. Honestly, it's quite beautiful, if you ignore the screaming." The aliens fled. The galaxy trembled. From that day, nothing was the same. Everywhere, whispers. The humans woke a Guardian. The Guardian listens to them. The Guardian fights for them. Species that once sneered at humanity suddenly smiled too wide, spoke too politely. Others armed themselves desperately, muttering that humans had skipped the evolutionary line and stolen an ancient crown. But Adrian never claimed rulership. He never blustered, never threatened. He was always polite, always charming, always smiling. Which made his menace worse. Because when alien leaders demanded, begged, or threatened for humanity to give up the Guardian, his answer was always the same, spoken with a calmness that chilled their blood. "Oh, we don't control him. He chose us. The climax came when the Council united. A coalition of 20 species, their fleets blotting out the stars, descended to destroy both Guardian and humans. Adrian met them at the edge of the battlefield, standing on a simple human shuttle as though it were a throne. He smiled warmly, hands clasped behind his back. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen," he said across every channel. "I admire your courage. Truly. But you misunderstand something important." "Which is?" sneered one general. Adrian's smile widened slightly. His tone was gentle, patient, like a teacher explaining arithmetic to children. "You think the Guardian is humanity's weapon." He shook his head. "But no. Humanity is his." At that moment, the Guardian rose behind him, blotting out the stars. And behind the Guardian, more shapes. Half buried across forgotten worlds, slumbering in ancient vaults, other Guardians stirred. Because in waking one, humanity had triggered the call. The galaxy wasn't facing a single forgotten war machine. It was facing an entire legion, and every single one of them had turned their gaze toward the species bold enough, reckless enough, predatory enough to wake them. The Council broke instantly. Some fled. Some begged. Some fired in desperation. It didn't matter. The Guardians advanced. And humanity, calm, polite, smiling humanity, walked at their side. Afterward, when alien historians tried to explain what happened, they struggled. Some said humanity tricked the Guardians. Others said they tamed them. A few whispered that maybe, just maybe, the Guardians hadn't been built to protect the Ancients at all. Maybe they had been built to wait. And when the right species came along, the one clever enough to bow politely, but dangerous enough to smile while sharpening knives, they had awoken. Adrian himself was asked once, by a terrified ambassador, what humanity had done to earn the Guardians' loyalty. He sipped his tea, considered, and smiled with that same infuriating calm. "Oh, nothing really," he said. "We just reminded them what predators look like." Deep in the void, where the Guardians stirred, one voice rumbled across the cosmos. "At last, the war may continue." And humanity, smiling, sharpening its blades, politely asked, "Against who?" The Guardian's 6 eyes blazed. "Against everyone."